Comfort all who mourn. The life story of Herbert and Madeline Nicholson. I sold a book a little over a week ago in February that was the highest ranked book when I listed it that I've sold to date. When I listed the book, it was ranked 6.7 million. My previous record was about 5.5 million. I sold 2 books in 5 millions, and I've sold 1 or 2 in the 4 millions. So this one by far is the highest ranked book I've ever sold. Now, interestingly, not only was it ranked 6.7 million when I listed it, but when it sold, it was actually ranked 9 million. So it truly was sold at 9 million rank. But I always consider it when I list it, because to me that's more important. I listed the book back in January of 2015, and it sold 13 months later, almost to the day. This is a book that sat for 13 months. I bought it for 20 cents, and it sold for $33.99. Now, it was the only copy on the listing when it sold. I believe when I listed it as well, which is probably why I listed it, because it was the only copy. And even though it was ranked really high, I figured, well, it's the only copy, and clearly I'm the only FBA offer. So if anybody, whenever they do, comes along and wants this book, they're gonna have to buy my copy. The book was nonfiction, and it was kind of like a biography about these people's lives. I don't remember the people or what was interesting or curious or whatnot about them. It falls into that category, nonfiction and then sort of biography, but also about someone in particular that is not really famous or well known. And interestingly, the person that bought it may have been a family member because of based upon their last name. So that also says that it was a very small audience, but nonetheless, it did sell. It sold for good money, incredible profit, incredible return on investment. Based upon how niche this book is, says to me that, you know, those are the kind of things that sell long tail, that it has to be really drilled down. Nonfiction, biography. I don't really sell too many biographies or, you know, books about someone's life or somebody's life or multiple people's lives. I haven't sold too many of those. But it depends on the person, you know. If it's a book about a specific person that is really, you know, a really famous person, maybe there's a lot of copies, that sort of thing. But if someone maybe has a very interesting story or is somehow unique, their story's unique, they're unique, their life's unique. Now there's no copy up there, and if someone ever finds another copy, you know, it's going to be their listing. I actually lowered the price from $49.95, but I don't believe there was another copy. I believe I lowered it just to make sure it's sold. Perhaps someone from their family bought it, I don't know. That's really interesting if that was the case. Having it sit there for 13 months, I don't know if the person, you know, never thought to look for the book or just found out about the book. I'm not sure. There's clearly not very many copies. Published in 1982. It's been out there for over 30 years, and maybe it was a limited printing. Was never reprinted. I'm not sure because I don't have the book. There's not even a photo of it on the listing. So clearly it's a very niche book that there are not very many copies of. So I think kind of the lesson is these long tail books, generally if I see 6.7 million, 6 million, anything over that, for sales rank, I'm not usually gonna buy it. There has to be something really, has to stand out about it. The topic has to be really great, really niche. The topic has to be unique. There can't really be another book on that topic. And this was true of this book. There's no other book written about this. This is it. If someone wants the life story of those two people, they have to buy that book, period. So that's, you know, the uniqueness of the title and the topic. Not just the topic, the title. Is there any other book with the same topic? If there isn't, if no is the answer, then that's something to consider. Also, how much is it going for? You know, if there's one copy up there and it's going for $10, is it really worth it to hold on to it for 13 months? But if there's no copies and you do research and there's any history of the price and it's a high price, then go for it. But also if there's no history of the price, you can't find it being sold anywhere else, then you can set your own price, you know, depending on how high you want to go. You could go to $99.95, you could go for $49, $29, whatever. You can always lower it, of course. It also depends on how much you're spending on the book. I got it for 20 cents, so I figured 20 cents. It's definitely worth it if it ends up selling. I initially tried 50, but it sold for $33, so I made $24 off of 20 cents after 13 months. So it's definitely worth it, you know? So consider these long tail books, which 13 months to me is pretty long. consider the topic. Is it unique? Are there any other books, or could there be any other books with the same topic, the same subject? No? That's good. How many copies are there? 0 copies? Then that's a great sign. If there's only 1 or 2, and you feel that you can get the sale by pricing lower than them, then that's something to consider as well. And the price, what is the price? I want it to be pretty high for a $6 million or $6 million ranked book. I want it to be, I would say, at least over $30, probably even higher, but at least over 30. 20, maybe, but I would say at least $30 or more. You want to make some good money off of it if it's going to sit there a long time. This sat for 13 months, roughly 13 to 16 cents for storage, plus inbound shipping, which is probably next to nothing, probably 50 cents or less, plus 20 cents to buy the book. So we're talking maybe 75 cents or less, all put in for this book. And it sold. I got $24. So it's definitely, some of these long tail books are worth investing in. I rarely do it, but maybe 1 out of 100 or a couple hundred I invest in or buy that has this kind of high rank, but rarely. I think the more that you send in that have the higher ranks, the more chances that you'll sell them more consistently. If you send in 100 books ranked 6 to 9 million and they all fall into that category, right? There's no other listing, or you're the only FBA, the price is high, the topic is very unique, unlikely to be any other book like it. If all those things qualify and you send in 100 of those, chances are, in a year, you're gonna have sold some of those. And if you're selling for good money, then it's worth it, considering you bought it for very cheap and stored it for very cheap. It's very worth doing an experiment, but you have to be able to find these. I don't find a ton of these, the long tail books that qualify, that are worth sending in. It's always interesting to me when I sell a book that's ranked so high, because I want to see, why did it sell? How can I repeat that? How can I find other books that fall into the category that will sell, that I feel confident will sell in a year or a year and a half or less, so I can get the money out and it doesn't just sit there. The longer that I do this, the more of these long tails will probably sell, and I get a better picture, a better idea of what really sells long tail. So let me know if you've sold any books recently that had a high sales rank. I'd be interested to hear what, not only the sales rank, but what the topic was, how many other offers were on the page, what the price was, and if there's any history of it, how often it's sold, which there's probably not if the rank is so high. So let me know, and get out there, look for those long tail books, and remember, keep booking.